All right, here we are on video reflection number 1. You're going to click this link below where it says U.S. invasion of Iwo Jima. Then you're going to use that video and the vocabulary supports to answer the reflection questions. This pro tip here, if your browser for some reason is not letting you watch this, you definitely can watch it on your phone. I know a lot of people have been accessing it. You can just type in letters to Iwo Jima, airstrike scene if you wanted to do that. And that will help you. The vocabulary aid that I'm going to give you is the Battle of Iwo Jima. The definition of that is this was one of the most important battles fought during World War II. It lasted from February 19th to March 26th, 1945. It was over a month of dangerous, violent battles that saw the United States military take the island of Japan from the Imperial Japanese Army. This was a major victory for the United States and a key victory in defeating Japan during World War II. Almost 7,000 U.S. Marines were killed, as well as 21,000 Japanese soldiers. You've seen this, I'm sure, very iconic image, both in like photography as well as recreated in several sculptures. It's the super famous like hoisting the flag at Iwo Jima. This definitely was like far and away the most famous and important battles fought in the Pacific theater, so in the Asian side of World War II. So having watched the video and using this vocabulary help point, you're going to highlight your answers to both to all of these questions following. Part A says, what point of view is the first video shot from? So what perspective? You're highlighting your answer below. This is interesting formatting here. Video 1 is shot from United States point of view or perspective. Video 1 is shot from the point of view of the United States soldiers. Video 1 is shot from Japan's point of view, or it is shot from the viewpoint of Japanese soldiers. You're highlighting your answer there. And then moving on to question 2. What evidence from the video supports your answer to part A? You're again highlighting your answer to support it. So you're supporting for let's call this part B. Just so it's super clear that these are related. Choice A says, in the video it shows the United States military being attacked by Japanese fighter planes. B, in the video it shows Japanese soldiers trying to survive a United States attack on their base as they are being bombed by fighter planes. Choice C, in the video it shows a Japanese military base being bombed by United States fighter pilots. And last, in the video it shows the United States soldiers trying to survive a Japanese airstrike attack. So again, you're choosing your answer to those questions, and then moving on to question 3. Based on video 1, what type of military technology was used at Iwo Jima, and how was it used? So your response is going to use these sentence stems. I know Ms. Graham talked about this last week. I've mentioned it. You need to finish this sentence stem and make it a complete sentence, not just like a bunch of words that are gobbledygooks strung together to make it look like a sentence. You're actually responding to it appropriately. So at the Battle of Iwo Jima, technology such as, think about what you saw in the video, what kind of technology was being used. You're going to type that there. In the video, this technology was used to do what? So was it used to defend? Was it used to attack? Was it used to bomb? Was it used to kill more people? But you're giving the justification of like how the technology was used in the video. Question number 4. Over 27,000 people were killed on the island of Iwo Jima. How did the military technology created in World War II lead to more death and violence than in any previous war? You need evidence from the video to support your answer. So you're going to describe what you saw in that video. So your first sentence here is asking you, the military technology created in World War II led to more deaths and violence than any previous war because. Think about what they had in World War I that we didn't have in what they had in World War II that they didn't have in World War I and subsequent wars before that. We see a lot of like airplanes. We see tanks have increased. The guns have been much improved. Later at the end of the war, we will see that there's an atomic bomb. So how does the technology that we currently have in World War II, so from 1939 to 1945, lead to more deaths and violence? What about it? In the video, it showed what? So you're going to describe what the video showed about the technology and how it created more deaths. And then last, this proves that new technology created the most dangerous war in history because. So up to that date, World War II was the most dangerous war in history, and it was because of that technology. Why? Once you've done that, we're going to move on to the video reflection 2. This one, you're going to click on the link below, and you're going to use this video and the vocabulary supports that go with it, similarly that we just did above. This video is the D-Day invasion at Normandy Beach. Iwo Jima is in Japan, Normandy Beach is in France. So again, if your browser doesn't let you watch this video here, like it's blocked for some reason, double check on your phone to see if you can access it that way. You'll be searching for America, the Story of Us, D-Day Invasion from the History Channel. The vocabulary word here that you need to know is D-Day. On June 6th, 1944, so we're at the tail end of World War II, some 156,000 U.S., British, and Canadian troops landed across 50 miles worth of beaches in Normandy, France. Should have a comment there, guys. It was the largest seaborne invasion in history and targeted the German forces who had taken over France at that point. Thousands of Allied soldiers lost their lives in two German machine guns. However, reclaiming the beaches of France was one of the most important events in the war, and it allowed the Allied forces, to run Germany out of France. If you have ever seen the movie Saving Private Ryan, traditionally that's like the most realistic interpretation of the invasion at Normandy for D-Day that has ever been created, aside from actual documentaries of the event. There was lots of soldiers that were at that particular landing that said it was like really hard for them to watch that first part of Saving Private Ryan because it triggered so many memories from the D-Day invasion. I will also be putting a map to support in here so you can see like sort of where the coast of Normandy was and sort of that whole stretch of beach that the soldiers basically like offloaded on boats, ran through the water, and then ran up towards the beach, basically hoping to get through these minefields and take back France for the Allies. All right, now we're going to look at part 1, now that you've watched the video and looked at the vocabulary. According to the video, what was the most important factor that allowed the Allied forces to defeat the German forces at Normandy? So what was the most important thing that allowed the good guys to beat the bad guys at Normandy? Choice A. The most important factor that led to the victory was the fact that the German army at Normandy was unprepared for a battle. B. The most important factor that led to the victory was strength of will. The Allied forces simply wanted to win more than the Germans. C. The most important factor that led to the victory was the sheer size of the Allied army. Germany was overwhelmed by the number of soldiers invading. And choice D. The most important factor that led to victory was the German army abandoned the beaches before the invasion took place. Which of those was the most important factor that allowed the United States and their friends to defeat the Germans at Normandy? Question 6, part B. According to the video, what allowed the Allied forces to gain such an advantage and build such a large navy? Hint, hint, that might be helping you answer question 1. So according to the video, what allowed the good guys to gain an advantage and build such a large naval force, ships and such? A. The Soviet army gave the Allies the advantage by distracting German forces in the east. B. America's ability to mass produce equipment and technology allowed the Allies to build the largest navy the world had ever seen. C. Most Americans on the front lines were willing to sacrifice themselves to defeat the Germans. And D. The Allied forces were able to steal German plans so that Germany could not build a navy herself. So which of those allowed the Allies to gain advantage? All right, question 7. In order to take out German machine guns, Allied soldiers in the first wave of attack had to jump off of their boats, knowing that they would likely die. What would it have been like to be the first boats at D-Day? It's not just like the first wave of soldiers, but the first boats, knowing that you will likely die. So for the first soldiers to jump on the beaches in Normandy, it must have been, remember using strong adjectives to describe that? Soldiers must have felt. So this is not like prove evidence. This is just like put yourself in the place of a soldier who's getting off of a boat to run up a beach knowing that you will likely die. The first wave of soldiers attacked knowing that they would likely die. The Allied forces sent them into almost certain death in order to win the battle at Normandy. Use reasoning and tell me whether you believe asking those men to make the sacrifice was the right thing to do. So do you think it was okay for the Allied forces, that's United States, Britain, Canada, France, etc., to ask soldiers to run up the beach knowing inevitably that that first wave and subsequent waves would die? So asking the first wave of soldiers to do this, to do what they did, run up the beach knowing they'll be killed, was or was not the right thing to do? More so. So you're adding like extra details. Like additionally, this was the right thing to do because, and therefore you're giving me one more reason, kind of summing it up. So again, this like last question is asking you to think about, was this the right choice to make? Knowing that soldiers were going to die, was that the appropriate thing for the Allied forces to do? Once you've done that, we're going to go to the Google discussion board. I'll follow up with another video.